Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Deep Blue Renegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deep Blue Renegade, and I'd like to welcome you guys to episode 387. 487. It's fine. I'm, I've felt like the episode has been several different numbers before saying that one aloud. There was a period where I thought it was 489. It's fine. It's fine. We got it all worked. So, it's been a fairly eventful morning, but maybe only a part of a row of knitting got done, which is fine. And then it was the case where I was like looking at the calendar, it's like, oh man, in 2 weeks I'm not going to be able to record, be out in the world. Very exciting. So it's like, maybe I should be ready for that. We'll get it figured out. So, or I think I know the right dress to bring to that wedding, and it's fine. So, whatever, that's some of the excitement in my life. Should be good. Um, so, it's like I'm thinking about the future instead of knitting right now. So, like, drink some coffee, look out the window. It's too bright outside. Would it be? I did make sure that both of my projects were in a good place before bringing them over. So that's why part of rote knitting was done, because I picked up that brioche thing and got it to the end of the row. As is right and good. So we can talk about it first because we're thinking about it right now. I am knitting a double brioche pattern, which is a modified design that I'm putting together, and it's going to be like a pretty dense but skinny skinny shawl. So, um, as you do, I've already made a hat with the yarn, so it has like pretty cool flowy pattern to it. I do like how it's nested together like this. And so this is actually the main side, and what it is creating are peacock feathers, because I took a one color brioche chart and turned it into two. And where I'm at right now in the project is, so I have my little middle of row octopus, and I just finished the what would it be, sort of the first closing off row. So the way that this pattern ends up going is that you have some period of time where you're expanding, you have some period of time where you are keeping the stitch count the same, um, and then you have a period of time where you're sort of closing off as the other pattern begins to expand. And so that's sort of how like they nest together, and then sort of create these interlocking feather pattern. And so my beginning of row, or sorry, my center marker is there because the center sort of shifts and moves around. And I don't know whether or not I'll be able to block it so that it was whatever way it was, but it'd be the case where I have peacock feathers coming out of the center spine instead of the edges. So the feathers on the edges are not changing in that way. But like the way it like sort of like undulates more than it ends up being like arrow straight like it looked like, and like the pattern that I was knitting, or that I was taking inspiration from, was actually more of like a hexagon shape, or like a half hexagon, like that half hexagon. I think it also had like edge filler, which I did not include, and that maybe would have made it a bit more substantial, maybe. But then I would have had, like I would have had a little bit more edge, or I would have needed some more border. That's what I'm trying to say. So, I don't even know if I like ended up adding something like too early. Like it's pretty forgiving. So I will start um I will start increasing away on this bad or I'll start increasing away on this bad boy. Um or whichever like my provisional future feather when it makes sense in pattern with its neighbor. So it might be a little or whatever. It's not necessarily a like even even 22.5 degree shawl. Like there are definitely places where it gets uh thicker. So it'll be interesting to see how I what I decide to do when I block it. Because like technically speaking, like it whatever. It's fine. I cannot be bothered to rejigger it to be more perfect. Like one probably could have maybe drawn it out a little bit to game out when it made sense to do things, but it's fine. As you do. So I'm knitting it out of Woolmice blend, which is their merino cashmere nylon blend, in the Ankalton Polar and Virex and Viruct, or Viruct and Virext. Whatever. It's lovely. So whatever, it'll be a very nice matching accessory set. I've definitely worn the hat. I still have to figure out how I want to weave in the end, or weave in the ends on the hat. And at some point I'll check in and see how much how much more yarn I have left. Like it seems like the balls are starting to get more empty. And I will probably at least I'm guessing I'll like try to use as much of it as I can. Like I think technically speaking, or would it be, I might be using the Verect and Verext at a slightly faster rate, and I think I would want to do I-cord bind off in that one. So I think that's the only thing that's sort of limiting me. And that is yarn that I bought at the Woolmice store. They were nobody's perfect. So the other project that I don't know has gotten some love in the past few weeks is um, my rocket tee. So I'm knitting this out of yarn that I ended up getting at Knit with Attitude in London. So the blue is Hillesvåg Solier, and then the rainbow is gold um, number 4. So that is a 75% Falkland Merino and a 25% Gotland, all dyed in natural colors. And would it be? I think what's cool about it is that you like if you get enough suggestion of rainbow, it's fine. Like my yellow is actually tan. But it looks very rainbowy this way. um so I have neckline all finished off. I have one sleeve done. It was actually sort of funny because I ended up like putting this up to this sweater, or sorry, this t-shirt. And so by like width of t-shirt, it's the same, but by depth, it is not the same. So it'd be the case where I think these sleeves probably have like 2 inches less ease than this one does, at least. Um, which is interesting. I didn't think it was that far off, but maybe I hadn't measured a t-shirt before. beforehand. So it does make me wonder a little bit if I um had actually wanted to make it a little bit bigger. Like, I'm not displeased with the fit, I'm just amused when I put it up against a t-shirt. And also the case where would it be like this ends up, this right now is at like my full bust length. So I do have quite a bit more knitting to do. And if my row gauge is, or would it be? So when knitting a raglan, um, your row gauge and your stitch gauge are sort of both being used, um, because you do want to have enough depth there. And then what you're trying to sort of balance as you're making the increases is that you get to a reasonable diameter for your body and your arms, as you like work within like the row gauge. And so this may be why I'm not like a super duper big fan of the raglan construction. Um, just, or would it be because oftentimes I am ignoring my row gauge, and I think there was definitely some features in the rocket pattern that I could have activated in order to have maybe hit those targets a little bit better. Not sure. So it'd be the case where I don't think it's hitting in any of the wrong places, but it is the case where I think there are certain ramifications to my choice, which I will be okay. So I have slightly more of the contrast color, and because of the requirements for yarn, my main color, I ended up needing to get two skeins because it wasn't enough to knit with the Soulier. So the Soulier is like a 350 meter per 100 gram thing, and I needed like 400. So I got two skeins of that, and then I decided to get the 5 minis, and then I decided to put them in rainbow order. um, so all of these choices add up to, if I would it be. So I'm not worried about running out of yarn. I have plenty of yarn. I have way more yarn than I needed, because I only probably needed like another 20 grams of the blue to make it work, and I have 80 more than that. So, or would it be? So ample yarn. So one side effect of having a pretty tight row gauge, which is very easy to tell when you're knitting like a stripe pattern in rows, is that I will be using more yarn to knit the same length garment. So in order to hit whatever my length targets end up being, like that that is going to, like, I'm knitting more total rows in the sweater because of that. So even though my stitch gauge is pretty close enough, I made adjustments. um my my row gauge is different for sure. Um, and then another, or would it be? So, like, I made it to the stitch count targets that I wanted to follow. Would it be? Maybe what I need to do is to take a favorite t-shirt and measure the sleeve diameter, but it's okay. Um, we'll make it work. So, and then it is the case where it definitely needed a bit of basically fancy footwork, because like 2-row stripes are obnoxious. It's not stopping me from working on the sweater, but it definitely, what is it? So for example, like in this spot, um, like I did have my color change here, and you can even like you can sort of see on the wrong side that like it's very loose there, because I was doing my color change like here or something like that. So what I ended up doing was then I moved my color change beginning of row to approximately here. Oh, here. And you can sort of, you can see with these two ends, like there's definitely like some, like there's like a gap in the fabric from where I did my color change. Um, so I was trying to like mitigate it by like twisting yarns when I join a new one, but I think what's just going to end up happening is I will close the hole when I weave in the end. And that seems to make it relatively like slightly less noticeable. Like it's definitely there's definitely distortion there. And so where the blue and purple are ends that I haven't woven in yet, but like where the green, yellow, and red are, I have had a chance to weave. So it like but there was just a hole. um I think like the jogless stripe methods don't work with 1 or 2 row stripes anyways, so whatever. It's fine. Maybe in principles of knitting there's an answer to my problem as well. But it's not like, or would it be? This would have totally been a non-issue with the bigger stripe thing because I have no problems whatsoever when I'm changing color with my navy yarn. It is only it only seems to be an issue when it only seems to be an issue when I'm doing the 2 row stripes. So that's that. Um, but like pretty nice. Would it be? Only the neckline's gonna have the bind off in red. The rest of the bind offs I will end up doing. The rest of the bind offs I guess I'll probably end up doing in the purple. I guess I reserve the right to decide to do a different thing for the bottom hem. Like if I wanted longer ribbing, for example. Though, I don't know, we'll cross that bridge when I come to it. I guess it depends where in the stripe sequence it is. Pattern calls for like only like 15 inches from underarm, but maybe that's also assuming deeper armholes. Attack of the row cage. So I will probably end up knitting it to 18, which will also use more yarn. But I did end up taking like a little sleeve break, because I wasn't feeling knitting on the body at the time, and like, oh, I'll just pick up a sleeve and knit it and see how it is. And you can definitely see that there is like a little bit, you can see how it sort of nips in there. Yeah, so it's a little bit more obvious that the blue yarn is sport and the rainbow yarn is light fingering in this spot, but it's okay. Yeah, there definitely just is a little bit of messiness and chaos there, but such is life. And then for the gold yarn, I am just breaking it with my hand and leaving a pretty substantial tail and then untangling it that way. And then I simply leave a substantial tail on the other side and begin knitting and work the tail in on that side, which may be part of the reason why it's a little bit more of a hole. I don't know, let's try twisting it right here and see if that helps. Because if I didn't need to weave in the end, that would be lovely. or I didn't need to weave in the end to close a hole, but there's plenty of ends. Um, and then I have been, at least, or would it be, I did want to make sure that my strategy of using the end to close the hole was going to be okay, which it was, so there's that. But I probably am not gonna carry up the blue yarn across the 10 stitches or whatever, the 10 row repeat I have going, so it's fine. I've actually just been switching what ball I'm working from at any given time. So I guess I did carry up the blue yarn for the sleeve because I just didn't want another. I decided I didn't want one more end in there, or two more. And because I couldn't break the yarn because I was actually um, not done with the stripe on this one, so there was that too. But it definitely does feel like there is quite a bit more knitting that has to happen on this. That's fine. Um, we'll get it sorted. So, um, yeah, and maybe it was the case for like the sleeve was perfect for knit night knitting, but it was bad for carry around knitting, so I think I ended up not working on it as much because I ended up uh starting the sleeve ribbing at midnight and then not picking it up again. So, would it be? And then I also discovered that I didn't have a US 1.5 tiny circular. Whatever, it's weird. So I ended up doing two circulars with it. Um, and I have a very epic ladder that I'm gonna have to problem solve because of it. But luckily, I have so many ends that we can probably fix it. So, like, see that epic ladder? Oh my god, so big. So what's gonna happen is I will use the tail to close it up, more than likely. But yeah, because I even ended up twisting yarn, and it still twisting yarn was not good enough for keeping the sleeve ribbing color changes looking nice. I don't, yeah, and I didn't really have it with the neckline, I don't think. Yeah, it's much more tidy, but that's fine. It might have all been embedded in a decrease as well, so there's that. Which wasn't going to be a thing for the sleeve. But things are coming along. Um, the Hillesbug is Norwegian pulp, and what would it be? It's pretty crunchy. So maybe it wasn't the perfect choice for a shirt that I would wear with a tank top underneath, but this is part of the reason why I'm doing all of the trims in the rainbow yarn, because the merino Gotland is very, very soft, um, even though it's maybe not very, very tough. So we'll see if I regret that decision or not. Um, and then one thing that I did want to highlight was since I had visited Knit with Attitude, there ended up being like a building collapse across the street from the store, and so um, the owner is actually pretty concerned about whether or not she can stay in business. So she actually has um, would it be, has like put out a call for help. So would it be? I figured that I should share the info, and I'll see if I can grab the link and put it in the video description as well. So, would it be? So super bummed to find out that would it be that they're in a hard time because I guess they can't get like car and foot and bus traffic in front of their shop anymore. So what would it be? I figured I would share that here. Um, let's see. What else? So it's very likely that would be. I'm gonna say that this project is not gonna run out in the next 2 weeks, which is excellent. Um, and hopefully I can get some good work on it. Um, oh, this is the decrease row. So hopefully I can get some good work on it in the coming weeks. Because I think would it be? So even though where I live uh, does not experience a very strong form of summer, where I work, which I've been going to 3 days a week, does at least have glimmers of summer. Would it be? Or it'll be the case where it'll be like 57 here and it will be like 80 down there. So my desire for summer knitting tops remains high despite my household. um, I definitely have occasion to uh, put put it on and that sort of thing. So, um, and like speaking of that, like so I did see that there was confirmation that Stash Dash would be going on, which means would it be? Which means I will delay on fixing and mending anything until would it be until that begins. And this year it will not be coincide. It won't be starting Memorial Day weekend because Memorial Day weekend is a little bit early, so it'll actually be starting the week after. So that means that the repair of my vitamin D armpit will wait until Stash Dash. And then I have a couple of different sock mending projects. I noticed today that my son's sock had a hole in it, so I was like, well, we can fix that. Also, it's sort of treacherous. wood wood floors and wool socks is with a toddler. That's chaos. That's chaos. Um, so so I should be able to put together a couple of things for that, um, in terms of mending. And then that does mean that I do have more of an incentive to finally finish the spinning project, because Google kindly reminded me how long ago it was that I had started it. It was like it's been going on for quite some time. I don't know if it was like 2 or 3 years. Yeah, the spinning mojo has been a little chaotic lately. Um, so I now have a way of keeping my wheel out in the open, so that's good. Um, for the most part, actually, I do have this room back, so I could also keep my spinning wheel in here as well, and maybe that's what I end up doing. Um, that's also an option. I guess it depends on where I'd prefer to hang out. But my daughter is now in the same room as my son, and they don't seem to be annoying each other too much. So, so I could get my spinning setup rolling in here again as well, at least for whatever, probably 3 weeks. I'm not in danger of finishing the project in 3 weeks. Honestly, I might be in danger of finishing the project for Stash Dash because I think I'm only on my fourth of 5 flies. So, oh, that was definitely not the way I wanted to show this. So, I have gotten a little bit more on the bobbin here. Bobbin's filling up, which is good. Um, so this is my yarn school sweater spin, more or less. So what's in it is blue Shetland that I've dyed, green, yellow, brown, and blue Hello Yarn that was from the same yarn school. I also have incorporated some mixed BFL from the Woolery and a bit of mohair that I got from the Sarah Anderson class, I believe. Probably. I think it was Sarah Anderson. So I took all of those, blended them up into bats, stripped them. Did I pull them off the drum card or did I strip them? I think I actually dizzed it off the drum carder. I diz my multi-layer bats off the drum carder, split them up by length into 5 bags, and then we are now working our way back. So I spun the full length amount, and then I split them all in half, and I spin the halves, then I split into thirds. Oh, I'm still recording. um, and now I'm working on halves again for the fourth ply, and then the final fifth ply will just be full lengths, which may result in me spinning longer. We'll see. Only, or would it be? So it's coming along. I haven't started any new projects. It's getting to the point now in the sweater spin where it's consuming so many bobbins that consuming so many bobbins that like I wouldn't be able to work on something else. And like I do want it done. I do want the finished object. So it would be nice to get all that yardage for this year's Stash Dash, as you know. So, so that is the story. There is I know it still feels like my bag is pretty full, but we'll just slowly eat away at it. So it probably is like a better like at-home project. Um, so that's a story there. Would it be? So next week and will be a holiday in the United States. So I don't know if I will choose to record on that Monday or if I will do something else. We'll see what happens. Um, we'll figure out what ends up making sense. Or if it'll end up being like a week late. It's either gonna be a week early or a week late. um, and then I still, or would it be? Yeah, it may end up having like a pretty long time where I don't end up recording this summer. So it may be like a really, really big long episode in August. We'll see. Just, or would be. It was like, it's probably gonna be like the longest that I've uh, had like a trip, so we'll see. I'm not sure what's gonna happen. I'm not sure I'm ready for it, but here we are. So, yeah, I don't know. I've chosen my choice. I have to live with it now. So, we'll see what I end up deciding to do. I will have I'll be working remote. I'll have a decent amount of vacation time because that's the best time to vacation. Um, I've saved every little scrap of it that I can, so we'll see what happens. But I don't know, I guess we'll see how I feel about recording whatever at my parents' house. Just see what goes down. Um, yeah, because I'm really we'll see what happens. So, with that, I hope you guys have a lovely week, and I look forward to talking to you guys soon. So, take care, guys. Bye bye.